106.7 Lite FM.
106.7 Lite FM, Cubby and Christine. Now, I'm okay when it comes to Broadway, but you're the expert, Christine. And today's my first day. We are the Broadway station.
Yes.
You do the honors of our two very popular
okay.
guests.
All right, Cubby. I'm so happy to do that. So I saw To Kill a Mockingbird just a couple of weeks ago. I was completely moved, maybe still recovering a little bit because it's a very emotional, beautiful, beautiful show. So I'm so happy to welcome our guests, both nominated for Tonys. Celia, Keenan-Bolger, and Gideon Glick join us this morning.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Oh, it's so nice to see you guys. I just saw you up on stage and I was bawling. I really was. I was laughing. I was crying. I felt every emotion, I think, because this is such a deep story. So deeply rooted in our society. But here's a retelling. Aaron Sorkin adapted it for stage, and it's incredible.
Thank you.
Please tell me, that's my experience of it, but I think you would know even better how it is for you. So, Celia, you're playing Scouts.
I am. And it's funny. So many people have said, I laughed so hard, which I didn't really remember. And going back, I hadn't read the book since I was, very young, which I think is the experience of most of our audience members. But the book is also really funny. I think that's part of why I initially fell in love with Scout in the first place, is she has this really, really great sense of humor. And I think Harper Lee had a really great sense of humor. And Aaron Sorkin was able to take that and infuse his own wit and wry sensibilities into the story. And then because it's something that is so, it's heavy and it's about racial injustice and about our country's relationship to race and class and intersectionality, that I think you need the humor because there's so much that's there to process.
Absolutely. And Gideon, your character Dill you deliver some great lines yourself, Celia, but you bring us a lot of that humor that we are so looking for.
Yeah, well, I think also because Dill is based off of Truman Capote and Harper Lee, these are two writers who are narrating the show. And so I think a lot of that wit and intelligence comes from the fact that these are writerly people. These are people who will go on to write wonderful, wonderful works of art. And so I think we can get away with a lot of the wit through that.
So, Cubby, I'll ask you for To Kill a Mockingbird. Did you realize that Harper Lee and Truman Capote were good friends and had grown up together?
I didn't know about the background.
Yeah.
I mean, we all read the book, I feel like, in school. And were you flashing back when you were reading the script? Like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm back in junior high again.
It is funny, like what you hold on to in junior high and then what sort of recedes and what feels even more poignant now. And I think Aaron Sorkin did such a good job of taking this story that we all have a relationship to and really pulling out the themes that he felt like could use re-examining in 2019. And so I was having this dual experience of remembering what I cared about, when I was in 8th grade and read it, and then now feeling different resonances.
Right.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, because we interviewed Aaron Sorkin as well, and he was just incredible. And shared the story about how originally he thought he would have child actors play the children. And maybe you could share with us how you were brought into the cast.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was brought in a little bit later. Celia, you should just take it because you started it.
I mean, it was basically that I just got a call that said, they're adapting To Kill a Mockingbird for Broadway. Aaron Sorkin is writing the script and he needs to hear the first draft out loud. And obviously we're going to use kids in the production, but in order for Aaron to work on the script, they think it's better to just bring adults in for the 2 days that they're going to read the play so that he will have a sense of where he needs to put in the work. And would you just come in and, read Scout Finch for the day? And I was like, I would be thrilled to do that. And sort of halfway through the first day, Bart Shearer, our director, was like, this feels like maybe it could work. And, in the book and in the movie, there is an adult voice of Scout. And it's a really wonderful theatrical device that couldn't be used anywhere else, I think, to get, instead of having like a grown-up Scout and a kid Scout, that in the theater you got one person to do the whole thing. Will Pullen, who plays Jem, he's sort of the three of us are like one unit and one person. He was also in that initial reading, and I think was a big part of why they decided to go forward with the adults.
I think also
voices and decided to go with you. And then
Well, I think also it happened. I mean, it's such an inherently theatrical device, which is really helpful for the piece. But, we're right now at a time where we're looking back. We're looking back at when the book was written. We're looking back at when the book takes place, which is even earlier. So there's something kind of nice to kind of illustrate the theme. When you have adults playing kids, there is this self-reflective thing that is going on, which is what we're doing as a society, coming back to the piece as well. So it's something that kind of magically happened, I would say.
With Scout being a tomboy, what's that for wardrobe? Is it easy or hard?
It's the greatest. It's a pair of overalls that I wear the entire show.
Really?
And I actually the other day was looking and I was like, we've been doing the show now for 7 months. And I was like, I'm about to get a hole in the knee of one of these overalls.
Well, you
And
haven't gotten one?
No, not yet.
I have gigantic holes on both of my shoes.
Oh, how fun.
We've just like worn, and the show is really physical and there's just a lot of running and like sliding
We're running
on
around
the
like kids.
floor.
Right.
Yeah. And so, but it is the greatest. There was a lot of conversations early on that was like, because you're adults, like, will you be dressed maybe in plain clothes or will you be in like 2019 wear? And then when we go back, you'll be in kids' clothes. And I think the costume designer, Ann Roth, came in and watched a read through early on and she was like, no, you put them in kids' clothes the entire time. It's no problem. So we have it really easy.
I love my costume.
Me too.
It works
Nice.
so beautifully. What are kids' responses when they come to the shows? Are they relating to you?
Well, here's what I find remarkable is that, first of all, we're getting a lot of people who've never seen a play before. Because, the Cult of Mockingbird is so large. But also because we're bringing a lot of kids in, there's a great initiative where public school students get $10 tickets. What I find remarkable, because I get very nervous when there's a lot of kids, because I go, oh no, they're gonna,
Call
they
our
know
bluff.
we're not kids. But I find when I see them at the stage show, they go, oh, that's exactly what I thought Dill and Scout were gonna be like. That's exactly what I thought Jem was like. I'm like, this 30-year-old, like this 40-year-old, like that's crazy to me that the magic of theater kind of supersedes all of that. That they can just abandon what they think and just kind of go with the show. It's really, really extraordinary.
Celia, how old is your child?
He's 4.
Oh, he's just
Not
4.
quite there.
It's so
He's
funny.
not
I would
ready
know. I
yet.
was like, what would that be like? And I was like,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be great. He would just talk the entire time. But I was like, could he like handle it? I feel like it's also different if there's a musical where you have the musical numbers. And I remember I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. I saw The Sound of Music, I think when I was 5. And I remember not being able to sit still very well, but I do remember being entranced with the musical. But I think it's different if it's just talking and if it's like a lot of courtroom scenes. I think he would just be like, what are we doing?
And then, mommy.
Right, exactly.
Not at this moment.
Right, not on Broadway.
Is that where you discovered your love for theater then when you were 5 years old?
Yeah, I saw a community theater production and I was like into gymnastics and I was into soccer and I was like, I want to be in theater too. And my parents were like, oh, okay. And so
They never take you seriously, do they?
yeah, well, or they were just like, this is like any other kid that likes to do, is like trying on different things that they like. And then as time went on, it kept being the thing like, do I want to play travel soccer or do I want to continue to do plays? And so you had to like, as time went on, I had to choose, and I always chose theater.
And now a Tony Award nominee.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for Gideon as well, you're nominated for 10. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And you discovered your love for theater when? Were you?
Oh God, I think I was nascent. It was I can't even remember when it started. I was really lucky. I grew up in Philadelphia and I come from a family that loves theater. So we would go to New York. We'd do like maybe 2 pilgrimages a year to see shows and so forth. I think my first show was, I was just talking to my mom, it was Jelly's Last Jam when I was like 5
start.
years old.
I love that.
And I never looked back. I just, I don't really know what else I could possibly be doing with my life.
Yeah, no, you guys you're absolutely meant for it. And 9 Tony nominations, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just give me a sense of how it feels because we're coming up on the awards ceremony. Are you excited? Are you nervous?
Both.
Yeah.
And it's what's been so amazing during this award season, we have a lot of events that we have to attend and but at the end of every night, we go to the Schubert Theater and do that show. And the day of the Tony Awards will be no different. We'll wake up, we'll do a matinee. My hair and makeup people will come to the theater, put a face on me, and then we'll go to Radio City and sit in a seat. So I think what's so amazing about this time of year, it's easy to get wrapped up in I hope all of us win Tony Awards, which I really do. But that at the end of the day, it's the work. It's like you have to return to the work. And that's what we got into this for the first place for. And that's what is going to continue for both of us until November, that we have to keep showing up and doing that play. And that's a really, I think, stabilizing force while you're in the middle of an award season.
And it's your 4th Tony nomination?
Yes.
Gideon, your first?
Yes.
So what's it feel like?
I mean, it's thrilling, but I have to say it's really thrilling to be sharing it with Celia and with Jeff and with this company. I mean,
Group hug right now.
I mean, but that is how it feels.
You feel like a family.
It's a joint effort. It all happens because of what everybody does. So it's really, really exciting. Also, Celia, this is her 4th time around. She's a pro, and so I feel really, really lucky that I get to be here right now doing this interview with her. It makes a really big difference.
You guys are wonderful. We've got to get you into the theater.
Yep, I'm checking it out.
Cubby, so
Yep. Actually, I'll pay. I know I can get free tickets. I'm actually going to pay.
See,
Because I like-
we
this
did a
sounds
good
really
job selling it, huh?
Yeah.
at the Schubert Theater. I know tickets are available starting in September, so I would go ahead and get a jump on
Yeah.
those. For To Kill a Mockingbird, Celia, Gideon, we're rooting for you.
Well, thank you.
you.
Already winners. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for
guys.
having us.
Thank you.